Welcome into Pirate Basketball Overtime on the Sports Objective Podcast. Pirates victorious on Saturday afternoon, 73-64 over James Madison. And Kyle, I know you were able to tune in as well. What a start for the Pirates this year, 6-1 and undefeated in non-conference play unless we add something down the road.
Yeah, 6-1, good start for the Pirates. Unfortunately, lost the one at SMU, but done well in non-conference play and played really well inside Minges. So good win over JMU today. They had beaten us 2 or 3 times in a row, so we were due to beat them, and we beat them going away. And really won by 9, but it was more dominant than that, Bubba. I thought offensively we got real sloppy in the second half.
Yeah, we really did. 73-64, like I said in the open, was the final, 33-25 at halftime. And like Kyle just mentioned, it was keeping JMU at arm's length throughout the second half. I think the closest they were to the Pirates in the second half was maybe 8. But the biggest lead for East Carolina today was 16 in the second half, had gotten up to as many as 11 in the first half. But Jaden Gardner early on, he scored 8 points in the first 7 minutes of the ball game. He only finished with 13. So even though they did an excellent job defending Jaden Gardner after those first 7 minutes, you had other guys stepping up. Brandon Suggs finished with what was tying a career high with 18 points. A career high that was set last year when he was a freshman. And also you had Batumba Baruti and Tristan Newton having a couple of their best performances of the year. Batumba finished with 16 and then also 14 for Tristan. And Jaden Gardner, like I said, had 13, giving East Carolina 4 players in double figures.
Yeah, it's good to see the scoring get spread out like that, and we need to see more of that as we head into what will be conference play the rest of the way, unless, like you said, we do add one more non-conference game, which is a possibility. But nice win today, and we'll look ahead a little bit here in a minute. But how was Tulane doing, Bubba? Do you know as we just peek ahead just for a minute? I haven't kept up with the Green Wave. Do you know what their record is?
Yeah, Tulane is 5-1, so they're off to a solid start. And like Kyle mentioned, we'll dive into them more here in a little while. But they were victorious today. They were hosting Grambling State, and they defeated Grambling 77-65. And
is that guy from Plymouth still the head coach of Grambling?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. I know I remember watching the Pirates play Grambling in Minges multiple times when he was the head coach. I'm not sure if he is still there or not. I need to check on that. But speaking of head coaches, Ron Hunter at Tulane, kind of a similar situation to what Joe DOOLEY is at East Carolina, trying to get a program that has really struggled in recent seasons up and running. And the Tulane Green Wave are off to the 5-1 start after today's 77-65 win over Grambling. And we'll take a little bit a closer look at the Green Wave, talk about some of their top players and some of their other results later in the show. But moving back to the East Carolina game, Kyle, in the first half, it was back and forth for the first few minutes of the game. And one of the disappointing things that I had not heard until the game was already in progress was that J.J. Miles is out with the leg injury. Hopefully he'll be able to be back for Tuesday. But if not for the Tulane game, you have a nice little break after that before, I believe it's Wichita State. So maybe J.J., if not back for Tuesday, will be back for the Shockers.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll be back Tuesday night. We get in conference play, you like to have everybody. But if not, like you said, we have a few days after that with Christmas and all coming up before the Wichita State game. And do you know if with COVID going around, is Coach keeping the boys here for Christmas, or is he letting them go home?
I have not heard. I know you don't have a. I'd have to go through our roster. I'm just thinking as far as who is fairly local, and obviously Jaden Gardner's from the Raleigh area, Wake Forest, so he's one that it's very reasonable for him to go home for a few days. But outside of that, you think about Batumba Baruti and Luigi DeBow and some guys like that are international. So yeah, that's a good question.
You got the kid from Jersey. I mean, that's probably doable.
Yeah. And obviously Tristan Newton is from El Paso, Texas, so that would not be doable for him. And Tyree Pig Jackson. I'm trying to remember where Pig calls home. I know he went to Virginia Tech before transferring to JUCO.
I want to say Maryland, but I could be wrong on that. That could just be me making that up in my head.
But kind of getting back to some of the numbers for this game, I'll put them on the screen here in a moment for folks viewing live on Facebook as well as our YouTube channel. Taking a look at the team stats, and the Pirates finished 44% from the floor, 26 out of 59, and really shot the ball poorly early on from three. Unfortunately, we were forcing some turnovers and getting out in transition, and we were shooting the ball well from two because we were getting a lot of high percentage looks. But I think it was just 1 out of our first 9 from 3-point range. But then you see we finished 6 out of 18. So from that point on, we shot it very well, 5 of our last 9. And we actually came in to today, Kyle, shooting 38% as a team, which is 10% higher than we did last season. And that number right now here early on in the season ranked number 1 in the American. So
trying to unmute myself there, Bubba. Yeah, that's great to be shooting such a high percentage. The more shots you can go, the bigger threat you can be from outside, the more it's going to open up the inside game. So hopefully we can just keep getting better with our 3-point shooting.
Looking over some of these other team numbers you see there on the screen, James Madison finished just below 40%. That was significantly lower in the first half. But like we mentioned in the open, or actually that may have been off the air before we started recording, or went live, I should say. But James Madison last year, actually, put 99 on the Pirates, which was the most ever in 48 meetings up to that point. So it was very nice to come out with a solid defensive effort, particularly in the first half. Then we had control of the game in the second half, and the defensive effort, as well as taking care of the basketball, as you see there on the screen with 14 turnovers, that really took a slide in the second half. And Coach DOOLEY, you'll hear his post-game remarks, and he was pretty frustrated by the second half performance in a lot of ways, while obviously happy with the victory on the whole.
Yeah, you'd like to see the guys have killer instinct rather than get sloppy and be content knowing you're going to win. It's time to pad your stats. When you're dominating a team, you have the opportunity to run your totals up. Try maybe if you feel like the game's in hand, get competitive with each other. Who can score the most, who can get the most rebounds. We had multiple guys in double digits, but we could have scored a lot more. And if it weren't for the sloppy ball handling in the second half, luckily we kept it strong on the defensive end.
Yeah, definitely. As far as that goes, just some of the sloppy turnovers in the second half. Just things like, I think it was Chris Newton, who it was doesn't matter, but passing the ball in and stepping on the baseline and just stuff like that. Just whereas
you're not mentally into it, you checked out.
Reflected a lack of focus.
Yeah, I mean it's you've got it wrapped up. But you better be careful with that, because you start playing like that, you start turning it over, and somebody gets hot from 3, suddenly you're in a ball game.
Yeah, and that was something I talked about, how the lead really did not go below 8 in the second half, but there were a couple of times where we pushed it out to 15 or 16, and then in a matter of 45 to 60 seconds, it was all of a sudden back to 8 or 9 points, and you really didn't feel that comfortable because Matt Lewis for JMU can get hot in a hurry, and you see there on the screen, he actually did finish with 19 points, but just 1 out of 6 from 3. So even though he met his average, it really was not what it could have been, because we did shut him down from beyond the arc.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think I think old Skip Holt's something Skip Holtz used to say was kill a fly with an axe. Do I?
I was just picking with you. I said adage.
Yeah, that's it. Kill a fly with an axe. Just keep the pressure on. Win by 25. Don't be content to win by 9.
And that's something we talked to Tristan Newton in the post game about as well. One of the members of the local media was asking Tristan once again, Pirates victorious and almost by double figures. You really felt like we didn't play anywhere close to our potential, and that's encouraging that we're winning without our A game.
Yeah, it is, and but as we get into conference play against Tulane, we're going to have to bring our A game every day for these conference games, whether it's Tulane or Cincinnati or Houston or whoever. It's going to take playing at your highest level to win in conference play, and that's what we're going to have to deal with from here on. So no more off nights.
Also, take a look at the other numbers while I have them up there on the screen. You see Lewis led the way for James Madison, also had the game high with 19 points. But Brandon Suggs had those career-high 18 points, or tying the career high from last season. And the crazy thing about that is all that took place with Brandon in just 24 minutes.
Wow. Yeah, he was on fire.
And then Batumba Broody finished with 16, 7, and 5. I feel certain, and that's probably a career high in steals for Batumba. Tristan Newton finished with 14, 6, and 5, and those 5 assists. And that was not his high water mark for the season. I think he's reached 8 assists on at least 2 occasions, if not 3. But those 14 points, I think, is his second highest total of the year, and he shot it better from 3 than he has all season long, knocking down 4 out of 6 threes. And then Jaden Gardner finished with 13 and 5. Kyle, you ready? We'll go ahead and go to the audio with head coach Joe Dooley.
Sounds good, man. Let's hear from the head coach and get his thoughts after the victory over JMU.
Hey, obviously a little bit of a tractor pull there for a little bit. We had some, I thought that we did some good things, and we had some really good stretches, and we had some other stretches where it was a little sluggish, and we found a way to win the game. But there's some things that we need to do better in order to keep getting better. But there's also some things that we hadn't done as well that we did, and good win. And after bouncing back from SMU, we now try to get our feet under us and get ready for Tulane on Tuesday.
So, Coach, you get 5 assists from Tristan, 6 assists from Tremont. How happy are you with the way they're continuing to get better, just kind of finding a good shot?
Well, I think we were 1 for 10 on bad shots. That way we charted it. Now we had 26 field goals. I believe 17 of them were assisted. That's a very good ratio. I did think the ball moved. I didn't think our offensive movement was very good. I thought we were a little stagnant. Obviously, James Madison did a good job of switching everything and which brought us to a little bit of a halt. But the ball did move. We had some uncharacteristic turnovers. We stepped out of bounds. We stepped on an end line. Especially late in the game, you got to get a shot up every possession. That's something we need to continue to work on.
Coach, how happy were you with the defensive effort? I mean, especially after last year, I know they put up a lot of points on you guys. Was that an emphasis?
Well, the biggest thing that was disappointing was the defensive rebound. We gave up 13 offensive rebounds. I thought our first shot defense was really good. We need to make sure that we clean up those possessions. We stood and watched a lot. I did think they did a good job, especially late in the game. I thought it's hard. And to the guys' defense, it is hard when you have a lead. Guys are putting their head down and driving because you don't want, one of the things the coach says is don't foul because you don't want to get on the line or stop the clock. And yet a guy's putting his head down and driving. It's a little bit harder. But if we had defensive rebound the ball, I think we could have scored more. And I think we would have really, we could have got out in the break. But it was disappointing that we gave up so many offensive rebounds, and we haven't done that all year for the most part.
Coach, was it out about Jaden Gardner being available today?
No, he practiced yesterday. I mean, we didn't get back till late Thursday afternoon, and we watched film on Thursday afternoon, and we did some treatment for all our guys in stretching, and we practiced yesterday morning for a little bit, and then yesterday afternoon he was able to go for both of those deals. We'll practice a little bit later tomorrow to give our guys some chance. We'll give them probably about 24 hours to recover, and we'll stretch. We'll do some light stuff. We'll clean up James Madison, and we'll move on to Tulane and watch a little bit of Tulane tomorrow with our guys.
Joe, how about JJ? Any update on his health status?
We're not sure. It's day by day, but it'd be good to get him back here soon.
Is it a leg?
He's got a leg injury, yes.
Coach, was it good to see Tristan step up, especially from outside, and kind of find his outside stroke?
Yeah, I mean, I really thought that Tristan, I thought he did it at SMU. I thought he did it again tonight. I mean, he had, 3 or 4 shots where I thought he could have stepped in it and shot it. I mean, he had the one in front of our bench was a little too deep for, my liking, but he had the 3 or 4 in the first half where he was towed up right on the line. He's a good shooter. I wish he would have shot those, and he ended up passing up, a wide open 3 and getting downhill. We need to keep shooting open threes, and I thought we turned some down today. But I mean, I only one I really thought got downhill, cleanly was Pig. He got downhill cleanly a couple times, but Tristan needs to needs to shoot open threes to stretch the floor for himself and for other guys. We're all set, guys.
Anything else, guys?
All right. Thanks, guys. Have a good rest of the weekend.
There you have the post-game remarks of East Carolina head coach Joe DOOLEY after the Pirates' 73-64 win over James Madison. And Kyle, one of the things that really stuck out to me, whatever, however you want to say it, as I feel like I'm doing the show here at Santa's workshop at the North Pole, with the kids being so excited for Christmas. But
hey, that's great, man. I mean, that's great. They should be excited for Christmas.
Absolutely. But one of the things that really stands out to me about Coach Dooley's comments is what he was saying there about Tristan, almost being, too unselfish as far as passing up some open looks. And, when he's knocking down 4 out of 6 and you want him to shoot the ball when the shot comes.
No doubt. If it's there, take the shot. I mean, Tristan's a good 3-point shooter. Don't pass it up. I mean, take the shot. There's going to be times, particularly as we get into conference play, where the inside stuff isn't going to be there, and we're going to need to have the outside shot. So Tristan needs to get his confidence down and take those threes.
Yeah, definitely. And we were able to hear from Tristan Newton after the game, and we'll go to that audio right now.
I got to take questions for Tristan.
Tristan, another solid performance from you guys tonight. You're building on wins after wins here. You've gone undefeated in the non-conference season for the first time. And how's it feel to be in a good posture here as you approach the Christmas season here?
It was great. We're learning how to win. So we'll take those wins, put on it, and into confidence.
Tristan, it feels like you guys haven't played a complete game yet, but you're still 6-1. Do you kind of agree with that assessment, and do you feel like y'all can get a lot better?
I feel like we can get a lot. We can improve on rebound, defense, shooting. So we're still gonna keep working, getting extra hours, get up our shots, hit shots. But then I think we're unbeatable if we shots because we're gonna play enough defense to win any game.
Was it good to see your 3-ball fall tonight and talk about maybe getting some confidence from this type of outing, shooting from the outside?
Yeah, it's been rough the whole season pretty much from 3 for me. So I just been getting in the gym, trying to work on my jumpers. Teammates keep telling me to shoot it. Coaches telling me to shoot it if I'm open. So I'm going to keep shooting.
You guys are getting good ball movement. It seems like if you just move it around, somebody's open, and nobody seems to be real selfish on this ball club. Talk about the ball distribution and how you guys are working well together.
Always just move the ball, get it to the third side, second side. So once we get it to the second, third side, the defense doesn't – like if they're pitching like tonight, they're going to be confused. Somebody will be open for a good shot.
There you have the post-game remarks of East Carolina sophomore guard Tristan Newton, who again finished with 14 points tonight or this afternoon, I should say, and also 6 rebounds and 5 assists in 35 minutes of action.
Yeah, good night from him. But like we said before, he probably could add even more points.
Yeah, and coming into today, Tristan was averaging right at 9, 4.5 rebounds, and almost 5 assists per game. So he's a guy that really stuffs the stat sheet, as they like to say, and just so excited that he has so much more basketball ahead of him in the purple and gold. Another guy we were able to catch up with post game was sophomore Brandon Suggs, the sophomore forward out of Georgia. Had or matched his career high with 18 today, and let's hear from Brandon right now.
Brandon, defensively, you guys had a pretty solid game, and I know after last year at James Madison, they put up a lot of points on you guys. Was that an emphasis coming into this game?
Yeah, that was a big emphasis. We knew that they had a couple great scorers. They was averaging a lot of points, so we established that we wanted to stop the threes that hurt us last year.
Brandon, you guys did a good job of stopping them around the arc. You kind of held them to 25% shooting overall, maintained a good working margin throughout the ball game. Talk about the improvement of this team as you are able to pretty much control this game from start to finish.
So last week we lost SMU. We played hard all game, and we played defense great, but we just wanted to play defense from first half and the second half. We wanted to put it all together. I feel like we kind of put it all together just a little bit.
Brandon, you guys missed a good number of open mid-range looks at SMU. That seemed to be more falling for you guys tonight. Is that just a confidence thing? Can you explain it at all?
I want to say it's like a confidence thing, but it's just sometimes it's somebody's night, sometimes it's not their night. So we all got big shots, and not so sorry.
There you have the comments of Brandon Suggs, the East Carolina sophomore forward out of Georgia. Taking a look at the rest of the scoring for the Pirates very quickly, and you also had Tremont Robinson-White finish with 6 points and 7 assists in 25 minutes. You had Luigi DeBow, who played 11 minutes but did not score. He did pull down 4 rebounds. You also had Noah Farrakhan, who played 7 minutes, did not score. Charles Coleman saw 4 minutes, along with Miles James, played 4 minutes and did not score. And you had Tyree Pig Jackson finish with 6 points and 2 assists in 24 minutes. Kyle, let's go ahead and shift back and take a look at what the Pirates have ahead very quickly. We'll talk about Tuesday against Tulane. Your typical 3:30 tip-off on Tuesday. So it's very odd, and 3:30 on a Tuesday, even in the holidays, that certainly screams 2020.
Why? Why are we playing that game at 3:30? What is the reason? On ESPN. Now, if we're going to play it at 3:30, they're going to throw it on ESPN or ESPN2 or even ESPNU. Great. But why are we playing at 3:30 on ESPN Plus? Can somebody explain that?
Yeah. Who knows? That's what I don't know if it's a travel thing, just with it being around the holidays, because you do have Cincinnati playing at UCF on Tuesday, and that one's at 4:00.
Okay, well maybe with
COVID. But that one, I'm not sure. My guess is with Cincinnati involved, that one's probably on an ESPN platform, but I am not certain on that.
Well, it is COVID times, and I guess travel is a bit more difficult, but seems a little odd. But you know what? At least we're off work, right? So we'll be able to watch it. And
going back to Tulane and their results, and we talked about how they defeated Grambling today at home, 77-65. Their most recent game and their only American game to date was 3 days ago on Wednesday. They failed to Memphis in New Orleans 80-74 in what was a very competitive ball game throughout. And they had also they had won their first four, obviously, and started 4-0 with victories over Lamar, Lipscomb, who Lipscomb actually is pretty good, and Southern Mississippi 58-38, and Arkansas Pine Bluff. So
yeah, sounds like it's going to be a pretty evenly matched ball game to me. I expect a war against Tulane.
Yeah, this is one if you want to make that push, toward the middle of the conference, and you really need to win this one at home. But it's far from a given by any stretch of the imagination, and this will be the first of what will be 2 meetings with the Green Wave in the next 3 games, and with only a trip to Wichita State in between.
Yeah, you're right, which is kind of odd scheduling, but it is what it is. And yeah, you're right. We could lose this one and then go beat them in New Orleans and beat Wichita State. You never know, but sure would like to get this one and get to 1-1 in the league and take care of business at home.
Taking a look at Ron Hunter's ball club, a little with the Green Wave. You have Jalen Ford. He had 21 points and 6 rebounds today in 38 minutes against Grambling, and he was one of 3 Green Wave players, and all 3 of the guards in double figures. Watson and Walker also reached double figures today, and looking at on the season, Forbes is averaging right at 15 points and about 5.5 rebounds. He is a 6'5" guard, and the other guys that I referenced, they've had pretty solid years as well. I know Gabe Watson, he has scored 18 each of the last 2 times out. So him putting 18 points and 5 rebounds on the Memphis Tigers, and that certainly talks about his ability. And so a very guard-oriented approach for the Green Wave, and hopefully the Pirates will bring their A game and get to 7-1 on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, no doubt. And like I said before, you'd like to take care of business at home. It makes things a lot easier on you. Take some pressure off on road situations.
No doubt about it. Kyle, do you have anything else? We'll go ahead and wrap this up.
I know. Just looking forward to Tuesday against the Green Wave, a little Tuesday afternoon basketball as we approach Christmas, and go Pirates.
And as you see there on the screen, once again, Tuesday, December 22nd, 3:30 tip-off at Minges. You have the ESPN Plus broadcasting the game, and you'll have, like you had today, and pretty much all the recent home games that have been on ESPN Plus, Chris Edwards, the East Carolina alumnus, who's actually doing play-by-play work for Duke baseball and Duke women's basketball. He'll be on the call, and Jay Sunhalter, former Pirate tight end, will be the color analyst on Tuesday's broadcast. For our absent co-hosts, Dave Richmond and Kyle from LaGrange Barber, I'm Bubba Rosenbaum, and you've been watching Pirate Basketball Overtime, all on the Sports Objective podcast. Have a great weekend, everyone.